People always assume that silence means weakness. But sometimes silence is just a storm waiting for the right moment to break. The first time the bullies cornered Amara in the hallway, they laughed at her accent, her skin, her clothes. They didn't know her fists could move faster than their insults. And if you stay with me until the end, you'll see why the last person who tried to hurt her ended up kneeling. Not because she hit him, but because she saved him. New girl in the wrong place. Amara had moved to Westwood High only 2 weeks ago. Her family had relocated from Atlanta after her mom, Dr. Valerie Brooks, got a new research position at the local university. The school was bigger, louder, and far less welcoming than the warm, diverse neighborhood Amara had grown up in. She walked through the crowded hallways on her first day, holding her backpack straps tight, eyes scanning for a friendly face. But instead of welcome smiles, she caught snickers and stares. A group of girls near the lockers whispered, their eyes flicking to her hair, then back to each other, laughing quietly. At lunch, she sat alone, unpacking her homemade sandwich, while the table next to her erupted in laughter at a meme on someone's phone. A tall boy named Chase, one of the school's so-called golden boys, passed by her table with his friends. His eyes swept over her and he smirked. "Yo, did you get lost on your way to the fashion aisle? Or is this the clearance section?" Amara didn't look up. She'd learned early that some words aren't worth answering. But ignoring him only made Chase lean closer. "What, too good to talk? Or maybe you just don't speak English?" His friends chuckled. Inside, her fists clenched. But she remembered her father's voice. "Karate is not for proving you're strong. It's for proving you're in control." So she let it go. For now. Days passed and the bullying grew sharper. Snide comments in the hallway. Notes slipped into her locker with racial slurs. A girl named Brooke accidentally spilled a soda over Amara's homework, laughing when she gasped. But Amara noticed something else. The bullying wasn't just aimed at her. There was another boy, Marcus, a quiet kid in her history class, who got shoved around almost daily. He'd flinch when Chase's group came near. She wondered how long he'd been dealing with it. One rainy afternoon, she saw them trip Marcus near the gym doors, sending his books flying into a puddle. Chase laughed so hard he doubled over. That was the first time Amara stepped forward. "Pick them up," she said. Her voice was calm, steady. Chase turned to her with mock surprise. "Oh, the new girl talks." His friends closed in. "What are you gonna do if we don't?" Amara just looked at him, saying nothing. Inside, her training years flickered like muscle memory. She knew exactly what she could do, but she also knew this wasn't the moment. Yet, the moment they crossed the line, Friday afternoon was buzzing with energy. The school football team had a big game that night. Hallways were loud, lockers slammed shut, and students poured out to buses or practice. Amara was heading toward the exit when she heard raised voices down the side corridor. She turned the corner and froze. Brooke had Marcus cornered against the wall, holding his notebook over her head like she might tear it in half. Chase and 2 other boys were there too, blocking his way. "You gonna cry again, Marcus?" Brooke sneered. Amara stepped forward. "Let him go." The group turned toward her, and Chase's smirk deepened. "Or what, new girl?" Amara didn't answer. She simply walked forward, slow, measured steps, until she stood between them and Marcus. "Ow, look," one of the boys said. "She's trying to be a hero." Chase leaned in, his tone shifting from mocking to something colder. "You think you're tough? You don't belong here. You're nothing." Then he made the mistake. He reached out and shoved her shoulder. The hallway went silent. Amara's stance shifted, subtle but unmistakable, knees bent, weight balanced. "I told you to stop." Chase laughed, but it was uneasy now. "Or what?" That's when it happened. He lunged forward, maybe to push her again, but Amara's reflexes kicked in before she could think. In one fluid motion, she sidestepped, hooked his arm, and used his own momentum to flip him onto the floor. He landed with a thud, the air whooshing out of him. His friends stared, stunned. One of them stepped toward her, and she moved before he could touch her, sweeping his legs so he stumbled back against the lockers. The entire fight lasted less than 10 seconds. Amara stood perfectly still, breathing evenly, her eyes locked on them. "I don't want to hurt you, but I will protect myself and anyone else you go after." Chase scrambled to his feet, face flushed red. For a moment, it seemed like he might go at her again. But then the sound of footsteps came from the other end of the hall. The principal's voice calling out. Chase's group scattered without a word. Marcus looked at her like she just walked out of a movie. How did you do that? Amara smiled faintly. Let's just say I've been training for a long time. But what happened next is what made this story different from every other fight story. Because 2 weeks later, Chase found himself in real danger outside of school, and the only person close enough to help was the girl he'd bullied. And she didn't hesitate, because strength isn't about payback. It's about knowing when to fight and when to forgive.